Just ahead on One Detroit, a new multi-million-dollar Greenway will connect residents in southwest Detroit to the city's riverfront. Plus, Stephen Henderson and Nolan Finley discuss the situation for Detroiters who suffered major losses from last year's floods. Also ahead, the City of Detroit's Summer Jobs program is gearing up to put thousands of teens and young adults to work. And Make Music Not War. Two musicians from Russia and Ukraine come together to promote peace. It's all coming up next on One Detroit.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program is provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV, the Kresge Foundation.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Nissan Foundation, and viewers like you.
Just ahead on this week's One Detroit. Rainy weather is coming, and some Detroit residents are still cleaning up from last year's floods and waiting for financial assistance. Stephen Henderson and Nolan Finley debate the current state of the city's infrastructure and the denial of damage claims. Also coming up, the City of Detroit is planning to match 8,000 young people with employers this summer for work opportunities. American Black Journal gets the details on this year's Grow Detroit's Young Talent program. Plus, we've heard it said that music soothes the soul during troubled times. In the midst of the Russia-Ukraine war, a University of Michigan music student from Russia is encouraging hope and unity by teaming up for a special performance with a Ukrainian musician. But first up, the groundbreaking for Detroit's Southwest Greenway. The nearly 1-mile path will connect the Detroit Riverfront to the Michigan Central District and Southwest Detroit neighborhoods. The $8 million project is led by the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, and the Greenway is expected to open in the fall. One Detroit contributor, AJ Walker, was there for the start of the work on the long-awaited project.
One, 2, 3.
Detroit Riverfront!
Today's a big day. We promised you we're going to get west, and here we are. So thank you for all of your help.
A day that has been several years and millions of dollars in the making, the groundbreaking ceremony of Southwest Greenway. The project will span from Bagley to Jefferson.
This is going to connect the river to everything taking place in Southwest Detroit, not just Michigan Central and the great project that Ford's doing, but to all of Southwest Detroit, Mexican Town, Corktown, all the vibrant neighborhoods over here, and it's really going to bring this spectacular waterfront and connect it into the neighborhoods. So this will be the Quinter Cut for the west side, and it's going to be not just a connector, but a place that people can enjoy just being out here, with the residential neighborhoods and the commercial and all that kind of thing. They can enjoy it every day of the year.
Matthew Cullen, chairman of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, is a part of the team that has made this dream a reality.
I think for me personally, it will be just connecting the neighborhoods of Southwest Detroit. It's our most dense and most vibrant neighborhood in the city, and for decades they've had no access to the water. They literally couldn't get to the water because of the industrial buildings or the railroads or all of those kinds of things. And now, because of the hard work of a lot of people, we're going to be able to bring everybody down to the waterfront and have them enjoy the best asset we have in the city of Detroit.
The Southwest Greenway wasn't originally part of the plans to connect Detroiters to the riverfront. Cullen says that came about after hearing from the community.
When we started, our vision, what we thought was pretty bold and audacious all by itself. We were going to go from the former Joe Louis Arena site all the way to Belle Isle, 3.5 miles in the middle of one of the biggest urban areas in the United States. We thought that was pretty powerful. But almost immediately, our friends from Southwest Detroit said, hey, that's really cool. We really like that vision. But what about us? We immediately went back to the drawing board. And even though we weren't really sure how we were going to pull it off, after a number of community meetings, a number of different outreaches, we really concluded that we needed to do that. And so we broadened our vision to 5.5 miles, bridge to bridge.
One of the things that we want to do is not only have this be the best riverfront for the city, but also the best riverfront for Detroiters. And that really means including and ensuring that every Detroiter feels that this is their riverfront. And I think this is going a long way towards making that a success.
Antoine Bryant, Director of Planning and Development for the City of Detroit, says getting to this point was not without challenge.
The biggest problem was assembling all the land. Making sure we had to address several different owners to put it all together. That took over 5 years. Now that we got that part, during that effort, we also were very intentional to ensure that the residents were part of this discussion. So making sure that this is a collaborative thing, and we've been very, very, I think, successful to show the inclusion of all of our residents in a Mexican town and in Corktown. And as you heard, and as we'll begin to see upon its opening, that this will be an opportunity just for Detroiters. And that's something that we're really excited about.
Under this tent, spectators who came to cheer on the groundbreaking and those who have been rolling up their sleeves for years to make it all happen.
If it wasn't for all of you, we would not have this desire to want to change Detroit like we have.
Mary Culler, chair of Michigan Central, says that there's still more work to be done.
Even if you're someone who isn't, able to get on a bike, who isn't able to walk, but wants to actually enjoy the Greenway, we want to work on those mobility solutions to actually give them access to the Greenway. So that's going to be part of our role as well, is to take our innovation district and to come up with those pilot projects that we're going to actually be able to test safely on the Greenway. And we're very excited about that.
The Detroit Riverfront Conservancy and its community partners say they're ready to put in that work.
We're confident it's going to become just as important on the west side and generate just as much community love as the DeQuinder Cut has.
The Detroit Riverfront means a great deal to a lot of people, and this was evident last year when USA Today declared us the best river walk in America, and I have to agree with them. We won that award not because we're the most expensive river walk, or because we're the fanciest river walk, or because we're the biggest river walk. We received that recognition because people love their Detroit riverfront, and we're building on that.
Cleanup from last year's flooding is still underway for some Detroit residents, and many have paid out of their own pockets to repair the damage. The Detroit Free Press reports nearly 39,000 households in the city have received federal aid, but thousands more have been denied or are still waiting to hear about their claims. Nolan Finley of the Detroit News and Stephen Henderson of American Black Journal sat down to talk about the relief for flood victims, the city's infrastructure, and the risk of heavy rains in the future.
So Nolan, on top of all of the incredible loss that Detroiters suffered last year because of the storms and the floods that got into their houses, we're now learning that a lot of them didn't get the federal relief that was supposed to get to them through the city, that a lot of them are covering these costs themselves or letting insurance, which is not as much of a payout, do it. It is insult to injury in a way that we rarely see happen in real life. And I can't imagine for those folks who lost so much in those floods that they're not going to get the reimbursement that the federal government is trying to get to them.
And they truly are, many of them, caught in a bureaucratic nightmare. Now, a lot of people have gotten settlements, haven't gotten money either through FEMA or through the Great Lakes Water Authority. But, the catch-22 here is if you had insurance, if you've got flood insurance, only part of your claim is covered, or perhaps none of it all. A lot of these claims are being denied because you had some insurance. So, you have people talking about $30,000, $40,000 worth of damage in their basement and still can't get relief. There's something on the order of 10,000 FEMA claims still waiting, and 40,000 separate claims, I believe, before the Great Lakes Water Authority, which is, its position is if your basement was flooded because a pump failed, you're eligible or may be eligible. If your basement flooded just because the rains were heavy, that's not the Great Lakes Water Authority position. And navigating sort of all of these ins and outs of trying to get assistance. Very difficult people, and meanwhile, many of them still have horrible damage to their homes. And
Yeah, especially over on the east side, of course, where the damage was the worst. There are still people who are cleaning up from all of the stuff that happened. It's not as if this is something in the past. And then if you think about the calendar, it's spring, it's going to be summer. The chance of more of these storms is really, really high. And can you imagine having to go through it all again? I think that because I believe that this is a function of climate change in some form, I think we're going to have to rethink the way we deal with a number of these things, right? This whole idea of flood insurance has to be revisited. The way that we hold government authorities responsible for their end of it. Glee was saying that if a pump doesn't fail, somehow it's not their fault. But the truth is, it's the storm sewers and the regular sewers that are old and backed up that also contribute to the flooding. It's not just the pumps. And then this whole idea of where people live in this community and how much of the properties in Metro Detroit are in floodplains. We've done some things to dry them out so we could build housing, but we have not eliminated the threat of this kind of thing, especially given what the weather is. You're talking about another major investment to make sure that people's houses don't flood when we get these storms, which I think is going to be a much more regular part of life.
No matter what we do in terms of combating climate change, this is a very long-term prospect if we can do it at all. So we're going to have to start focusing on adapting and where we build homes, not just in Metro Detroit, but look at Florida. I mean, we've built homes in places that should be swamps and Everglades along the coast, not along the Great Lakes coast, along the Atlantic and Pacific coast where water is expected to rise. Similarly, Las Vegas and other places in other desert communities where people weren't meant to live. And the demands of air conditioning as temperature rises, it's going to become prohibitive. We've got to rethink how much those areas continue to grow. We also have to talk about how we build our houses. If you're using your basement as a living space, extra living space, as a lot of people are, going to have sump pumps with backup power to keep that water out of your house. And take it for somebody who's lived through a few basement floods. You probably, unless you have that, you probably don't want to put a whole lot of stuff you care about in that basement because you're going to have floods here.
The big cost of repairing the infrastructure that we're talking about is the other thing that's looming in the background. Last summer, I can't remember which official it was, said that the number was approaching $17 billion. Some people knocked that down and said, well, it's only $5 billion. But really, when you're talking about that kind of money, what's the difference in this community? I mean, raising that kind of capital to reinvest in infrastructure is something we've never been able to convince people to do, either through the cost of their water bills or through some sort of other assessment. I mean,
it's there now. I mean, we are awash in infrastructure money, and I think the governor. I know the governor
some of it will go to this. Yeah.
The governor has dedicated some money to fixing those pumps, which on the freeways, which is essential to keep the freeways from from flooding. We also need to look at what it's going to take to move water out of residential areas. That money is there now in a way it'll never be there again, I wouldn't expect. And so maybe they make a grant, maybe they start offering grants for people in floodplains and susceptible areas to install pumps and backup power. I mean, I covered basement floodings 30 years ago as a reporter, or 40. And, this has always been with us. It's going to get worse, and it's always going to be with us. Let's start thinking about how we prevent the damage rather than paying for the damage after it occurs.
Each year, the Grow Detroit's Young Talent program provides summer jobs for young people ages 14 to 24. Employers partner with the city to offer both in-person and virtual work experiences, and the young people learn skills that will help them advance in their future careers. As part of Detroit Public Television's Future of Work initiative, American Black Journal's Stephen Henderson spoke with two people connected to the program along with a past participant.
This will be the 8th year of Grow Detroit's Young Talent. What have we learned about how important these kind of opportunities are for young people in our city to get?
Oh my goodness. Giving young people an opportunity to explore careers is just priceless. Young people 14 to 24 can do anything if they really see that there's true opportunities, and then we give them pathways. So what we've learned over these 8 years is that young people are really interested in learning about pathways and careers and opportunities and what it takes to actually be successful in areas that they never knew anything about. What I really enjoy and think is valuable about GDYT is that young people can play in a space safely, and if they don't like it, they can choose something else. A lot of times we get older, we spend money on tuition in college, and then we realize, this is not what I'm really interested in. So this is career exploration 2.0, and young people are talented and they have so many options, and this program really gives them a chance to do it in a safe space with meaningful adults and earn money to do so.
Shana, I wonder if you can talk about a little bit from the employer side, the kinds of places that are participating and what they're getting out of all of this.
Great. It really is a partnership, a group effort to make the program work. We have community-based organizations, nonprofits that wrap their arms around young people and get them ready for these experiences. And then we have our private sector employers that are ready to embrace and take young people in and offer them, as Stephanie was saying, the exposure to what it's like to really be in a work setting, to have a boss, to have a supervisor, to have to be somewhere on time, all of those pieces. And so we work hard to match young people to things that they're interested in. So if you want to be a lawyer, then we want to connect you with the law office. If you want to explore trades, then we want to connect you to some training and experiences in the area that you're interested in. If you're interested in nonprofits or community work, community development. So because of the wide range of support that we have in the community, we're able to offer young people an equally wide range of experiences.
So Jocelyn, this is all about you and other young people like you in our city. So I'm really eager to hear what this experience was like for you. Let's start with where you worked and why you chose that place to spend your summer.
I worked throughout GDYT. I worked through the healthcare program, and I chose that because what I want to do when I get older is relating to that. So like when I get older, I want to become a radiologist, and I chose that throughout the GDYT is because it will help me gain communication skills when I go to that certain field. And also it taught me pros and cons in the healthcare field that would help me decide on where I wanted to go in the career field.
Mm-hmm. So tell me what that first day of work was like for you. Most of us can remember our first days of work. We were probably a little older than you were when we went and did it. Were you nervous? Were you excited? How did that feel?
I was excited because it was my first year doing GDYT, but I was also kind of scared because I didn't have any friends to do it with, but I knew that I could meet new people to do it with. So that's what helped me throughout the GDYT experience.
Stephanie, when we think about programs like this, I think it's useful
in some ways to think about outcomes and hoped for outcomes, and then how close we come to reaching those outcomes. Give us a sense after 8 years of what kind of outcomes we're seeing long-term with the people who participate, and whether they're measuring up to what we thought might happen.
Well, some of the things that we look for is that young people do connect beyond GDYT to permanent opportunities. Either they go on to post-secondary or they go into permanent work opportunities within the career path that was best for them from their experience with GDYT. We see that young people are retaining these opportunities. They're going back to school. They're more likely to take their SATs and ACTs. We've seen where there's some math scores. We've seen a difference in young people just understanding the importance of education and why do I need to learn how to do algebra? Well, there's some careers where algebra kind of is beneficial. So we talk about contextualized learning. So I think that retention in school and seeing the importance of education and remaining all the way through to graduation those are some of the things that we're seeing. And we're looking forward to, over the years, young people coming back, being mentors, talking about their experiences. Jocelyn, we hope you'll come back and talk to young people about your experiences and just encouraging them to continue. So yes, Stephen, retention in school, high school, going on to post-secondary, and then employment opportunities. And what we see is a participation rate that's above 80% every year. So young people are sticking and staying, and that's important, particularly what we had to go through over the last 2 years with COVID and the virtual experience. Young people are staying with us and just really just sticking and staying and moving into career pathways to be the feeder to the workforce of the future.
A Russian saxophonist is using music to promote solidarity and hope in the midst of the Russia-Ukraine war. Valentin Kovalev is studying for his master's degree at the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater, and Dance. He turned to his Ukrainian friend and pianist Alexander Polyakov to join him for a performance of The Great Gate of Kyiv.
I'm studying here for my master's degree at the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater and Dance. I'm a Russian saxophonist with deep Ukrainian roots, and for me it's very important to show as a sign of solidarity with Ukraine that we are, as Russian citizens, we are against of this war, and it's not our decision to invade this beautiful country, which I visited many times before. The whole idea of me doing something about this came to me when at first I read the news online. I was so terrified and so frustrated about this situation. So I called my friend, Ukrainian friend, pianist, who is studying here for conducting, and together we decided to play something and record it. So it was Great Gate of Kyiv. It's the last movement of pictures at an exhibition by Modest Mussorgsky. So together we recorded that piece as a sign of kind of a friendship in between Russians and Ukrainians, that we used to and we will make music together, not war. This is one of the most famous works by Modest Mussorgsky, and this is the last movement of the piece. This piece has lots of imitations of bells, and those bells for me represent the hope for a brighter future for all of us. The fact that we are playing it together, Russian and Ukrainian citizen, and he was actually born in Kiev, my friend pianist, so we have a lot of connection towards this piece, and we feel this very important to bring it to life.
That will do it for this week's One Detroit. Thanks for watching. Make sure to come back for One Detroit Arts and Culture on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Head to the One Detroit website for all of the stories we're working on. Follow us on social media and sign up for our weekly newsletter.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program is provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV, the Kresge Foundation.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Nissan Foundation, and viewers like you.